Today, in just 5 minutes, we are going to cover one of the most exciting topics in your class 12th AI syllabus, Generative AI. Now, you might have heard about ChatGPT writing essays, DALL-E creating amazing artwork, or AI composing music. All of that is powered by Generative AI. And guess what? This is directly in your CBSE board syllabus. So in this video, we will cover what exactly is Generative AI, how it works through GANs and VAEs, and what large language models are, their real-world applications, the ethical concerns around them, and everything you need for your board exam. Let's go. 5 minutes starting now. So what exactly is Generative AI? Let me read you the definition directly from your textbook. Generative AI is a facet of artificial intelligence that creates diverse content like audio, text, images, and more, aiming to generate new data resembling its training samples. In simple words, it creates new content. It doesn't just analyze what exists, it builds something new. Now, look at these 4 boxes. Text generation gives us ChatGPT and Gemini. Image generation gives us DALL-E and Stable Diffusion. Video generation by Google's LLaMA. And audio generation gives us Meta's VoiceBox and Google's Music LM. One important distinction for your exam. Traditional AI classifies or predicts, but Generative AI creates. It produces brand new data that never existed before. This is a very common exam question. And the examples you must remember: ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, DALL-E. Now, how does Generative AI actually work? Your textbook says it operates within deep learning and uses neural network to understand intricate patterns. Look at this simple flow. First, a massive training dataset is fed into the system, millions of text, images, or audio files. Then a neural network learns all the patterns in that data. When you give it an input or a prompt, it runs inference and finally generates brand new content. Now, here's a very important comparison for your board exam: generative models versus discriminative models. Write this down. Generative model understand and replicate data distribution. They create new data. GANs, VAEs, and LLMs are all examples. Discriminative model focus on distinguishing between different classes. They classify data. Logistic regression, SVM, and decision tree are examples. The question: differentiate between generative and discriminative models is almost guaranteed in board exams. Make sure you know this. Now let's talk about GANs, Generative Adversarial Networks. This is very important topic for your boards. A GAN consists of 2 neural networks that compete against each other. Think of it like this. Imagine a currency forger and a detective playing a game. The generator is like the forger. It creates fake data like fake images. It tries to fool the discriminator. It starts with the random noise and tries to generate realistic looking images. The discriminator is like the detective. It looks at both real and fake data and tries to determine real or fake. It keeps getting better at detecting fakes. They compete. The generator keeps improving to fool the discriminator, and the discriminator keeps improving to catch the generator. This adversarial competition goes round after round. The amazing result: eventually, the generator becomes so good that it produces images that look completely real and cannot be told apart from the actual photographs. Applications in real life: image generation, style transfer, data augmentation, and yes, deep fakes too, which we'll discuss under ethics. For exam, remember, generator creates, discriminator evaluates. That's GAN. Now, variational autoencoders or VAEs. These work very differently from GANs. A VAE has three parts. First, the encoder. It takes your input data, like an image, and compress it into a much smaller set of numbers. Think of compressing a large zip file. These compressed numbers are stored in something called the latent space. Note down this term. Latent space is the compressed representation of actual data. It's like a hidden summary. Then comes the decoder. It takes information from the latent space and reconstructs or generates new data from it. Unlike GANs or VAEs, don't have two networks competing. Instead, they learn the underlying patterns of the data and use those patterns to generate new examples. Applications of VAE: data generation, detecting anomalies, and filling in missing information. Now let's quickly compare GAN versus VAE. GAN uses generator plus discriminator in adversarial training, great for realistic images. VAE uses encoder plus decoder with probabilistic encoding, better for anomaly detection. The one term you must memorize for your exam is latent space is compressed representation of actual data. Next, LLMs or large language models. These are the technology behind ChatGPT, Gemini, and Claude. An LLM is a deep learning algorithm that can perform various NLP, natural language processing tasks. These include generating text, classifying it, answering questions conversationally, and translating between languages. Why are they called large? Because they are trained on massive datasets. Trillions of words of text and code from the internet. The quality of this data determines how good the model is. They use something called the transformer architecture, which is what made modern AI so powerful. You don't need to know the internals, just know the name. Here are the leading LLMs you must mention in your exams. OpenAI's GPT-4o multimodal handles text and images. Google's Gemini 1.5 Pro integrates text, image, and speech. Meta's LLaMA 3.1 open source, meaning anyone can use the code. Anthropic's Claude 3.5 prioritizes safety and Mistral AI's Mistral 8x7B uses a mixture of expert models. Now, 3 limitations that can come in the exam. 1. High computational cost. 2. LLMs may give factually wrong answers, but confidently they prioritize fluency over accuracy. 3. They may memorize training data rather than generalize properly. Learn these limitations, they are common exam questions. Now, let's take a look on a case study on LLaMA, Meta's large language model. This can come as descriptive question. There are 3 key points about LLaMA. Point 1. Disruptive training approach. Most LLMs are trained on private, expensive proprietary data. LLaMA is different. It uses publicly available text and code from the internet. This promotes transparency and makes AI research more accessible to everyone. It also uses efficient training techniques that require less computing power, which means it works on more devices. Multimodal design flexibility. Meta doesn't release just one version. They release LLaMA in multiple sizes from 7 billion to 65 billion parameters. Smaller versions can run on your laptop for simple tasks. Larger versions handle complex NLP applications. So choose based on your needs. Impressive results. Despite using only public open source data, LLaMA performs as well as or even better than some larger expensive proprietary models on tasks like text summarization and question answering. If your exam question says explain what makes LLaMA unique, these 3 points are your complete answer. Now, let's look at the real world application. This is a straightforward, just memorize the tools and categories. Text generation. This is where ChatGPT, Google Bard and Perplexity come in. They write essays, translate languages, complete code and even draft emails. Image generation. DALL-E by OpenAI, Canvas AI tools and Stable Diffusion create images from text descriptions used in advertising, design and art. Video generation. Google Luminary can generate realistic video clips. Deepfake algorithms can modify video content, which also raises ethical concerns, as we'll see. Audio generation. Meta's VoiceBox and Google's Music LM generate music and synthesizes voices used in entertainment, gaming and accessibility tools. For your exam, whenever an application question comes, follow this format. Name the application type, give the specific tool, name and mention one real world use case. That's the full marks every time. Now the ethical and social implications. Another very important section that comes in board exams. Point 1. Deepfake technology. Tools like Deep Face Lab can create convincing fake videos of real people. These are used to spread misinformation, damage someone's reputation, and create content without consent. This is a major threat to media integrity. Point 2. Bias and discrimination. AI models are trained on internet data which contains human biases, so the AI inherits those biases. For example, an AI hiring platform may unknowingly discriminate against certain demographic groups because the historical data it learned from was already biased. This is unfair and unethical. Point number 3, plagiarism and copyright. If you submit AI generated work as your own, that's plagiarism. And if the AI's output resembles copyrighted material it was trained on, the company would face legal issues. Intellectual property rights are a serious concern. Point number 4, transparency. Whenever you use AI, you must disclose it, especially in academic and professional settings. If you use ChatGPT to write an assignment and don't mention it, that's an ethical violation. Remember the 3 key responsible use rules from your textbook. Be cautious and transparent. Respect copyright. Never represent AI work as your own. Alright students, here's your one-stop revision table. Everything on one slide. GAN stands for Generative Adversarial Network. Generator versus Discriminator, competing each other. Key term, adversarial training. Example tools, DALL-E and Style GAN. VAE stands for Variational Autoencoder. Encoder compresses to latent space. Decoder generates. Key term, latent space, the compressed representation of the data. Example tools, Canva AI and Midjourney. LLM stands for Large Language Model, uses transformer architecture trained on trillions of words. Key term, transformer. Examples, ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude. Now, the 3 definitions you must memorize. Latent space, compressed representation of actual data. Deepfake, AI generated fake video or image of a real person. Generative AI, AI that creates new content by learning patterns from the training samples. Screenshot this slide and save it. This is your exam cheat sheet. Before we finish, here are some 5 most likely exam questions with their answers straight from your textbooks. Latent space, that's the compressed representation in VAE. Write that exactly. GAN uses generator and discriminator, half a mark for each. The difference between generative and discriminative models. Generative creates new data, discriminative classifies it. LLMs uniqueness, 3 points. Public training data, multi-model sizes and impressive results. 2 marks question, 2 ethical concerns, any 2 from deepfake, bias, copyright, transparency. That's everything on generative AI from your CBSE Class 12 AI syllabus. If this video helped you, like it, share it with your classmates, subscribe for more revision videos. And all the best for exams.